Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I really wish more people would devote time to talking about Descendants of Zombies and put their creative energy behind creating commentaries about Descendants of Zombies for you guys that you could enjoy and fall in love with. And that's all I've ever wanted to do by creating this YouTube channel. Long after I showed up last year, I promised you guys that I would upload a video about Descendants of Zombies at least once every day. And I've come through on that promise because I think there's a certain pride and a passion that goes with talking about Descendants of Zombies. And if a commentator doesn't have that, then really there's no point of them ever even trying to upload a Descendants of Zombies video, because you've really got to know everything there is to know about the franchise. You've got to be on point with your videos, and I like to believe that everybody loves these videos for whatever reason they have subscribed to this YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support you have shown this YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed throughout today. It was quite lovely seeing everybody subscribing and liking the videos, and it just goes to show how supportive everybody is of this YouTube channel, and I hope that they continue to be supportive of this YouTube channel for the foreseeable future. So evenings on this island are incredibly beautiful, and it allows me to create beautiful videos about Descendants of Zombies, because I think there is a certain pride that goes with talking about Descendants of Zombies. And long after I moved home and retired from my 25-year career as a journalist, I thought I was done. I thought my career was over, until the Descendants of Zombies universe brought me back from seemingly out of nowhere to allow me the opportunity to be your voice of Descendants of Zombies. And becoming your voice of Descendants of Zombies really has been an honor of mine ever since the very first girl showed up at my door dressed up as her favorite Descendants character over almost 15 years ago. I thought the characters in Descendants were incredibly beautiful. They were so passionate about everything they believed in, and the characters were very different from what we ever thought a villain's daughter would aspire to be, a villain's son or daughter would aspire to be in the Descendants franchise. You know, when I first saw the Descendants franchise, I didn't know quite what to make of it. I didn't think it would ever amount to anything, but I was blown away by the premiere of it. I remember the red carpet premiere of Descendants over 15 years ago, and I was incredibly inspired by it. I thought that Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson were going to become breakout stars, both as actresses and singers, and my assumption of them was right. But I have each and every one of you to thank for allowing me to be your voice of Descendants of Zombies and to shed light on the franchises that we have really fallen in love with over the last 10 years. I can honestly say that this has been a decade that I will never ever forget. By the time this video premieres, it will be midnight, and it will be a part of our Saturday lineup on this YouTube channel for videos. And I hope you really like it, because I really do love Descendants of Zombies. You know, I showed up on this YouTube channel. I told you I was the biggest fan of Descendants of Zombies on YouTube, and I think I've fallen through with that promise, because I think a lot of people on YouTube just show up to criticize the franchise. Even people who claim to be the biggest Descendants of Zombies fans in the world on YouTube are finding things to criticize about it. Everything from Zombies 4 down to the vampires and its plot, to its new characters, to the dawning of a new franchise now with the approach of this vortex to Seabrook. I'm really looking forward to finding out what's inside of that vortex. I'm really looking forward to the plot being discovered about Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland, and all the consequences of time travel we have yet to witness, from Red having a new sister Pink in the franchise, which I believe is going to really present a new opportunity for new storylines, which I'm incredibly excited about, because I think there is always an opportunity to create a new storyline. There is never a time in the Descendants of Zombies franchise that there is never a chance to create a new storyline. For those of you who believe they are running out of supernatural characters to see the premiere in the Zombies franchise, or new storylines to be created for Descendants with new characters and new twists and turns to be expected, I think you really need to stop buying into what the critics are trying to convince you is going to happen, because that's what they want you to think. Because if you buy into what they're thinking and what they want you to think, then I think that their purpose is really fulfilled, and I don't want that for you guys, because I think a lot of critics are really letting our hopes down and trying to take away our dreams about Descendants of Zombies, because that's what Descendants really started with and began with, was a dream. I mean, Mel wanted to achieve to become something far greater than her mother ever wanted her to aspire to be, and she had that opportunity in Descendants, simply because she didn't care what anybody thought of her. She didn't care how far she had to go, what sacrifices had to be made. She made them from every chapter of Descendants, just to keep her relationship with Ben alive and her hopes and dreams of being together with Ben for forever. become more of a reality than it ever was. I think that Dove Cameron's portrayal, I just want to go on record for saying that I think Dove Cameron's portrayal of the character Mal was so beautifully represented, and nobody would have ever been able to do it in the way Dove Cameron did it, because Dove Cameron did it with such passion. Dove Cameron did it with such pride, because Dove Cameron has this unique way of giving a character traits that makes them stand out from every other character we've seen ever be a part of a franchise for a movie or a TV series on Disney Channel. I believe the same night that Descendants premiered, actually Bunk premiered on the same night before Descendants' huge premiere. Everybody anticipated that it would be huge. I just wanted to be convinced that it would be huge, and I think within the first 5 minutes of the movie, I was hooked. If there ever was a franchise that I very instantly fell in love with and was hooked on, it was Descendants, for its powerful message, for its powerful music, for its friendships that we saw between Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson, which really started the franchise in a very positive and very proud direction to be headed in. I think Kenny Ortega was never more proud to be the director of a franchise ever since High School Musical exploded in popularity with 17.5 million viewers back in, I believe, June of 2007. So that was a long time ago. So I think Kenny Ortega, at over 75 years old, was really looking for something to really build momentum off of, and Descendants gave him the opportunity to do that. And, you know, if I were Kenny Ortega, I would have been incredibly proud to see Descendants see this rapid-fire ascension to number one. You know, it will be argued for forever that if not for the success of High School Musical and its profound legacy, that other projects for Disney Channel would have just faded off into obscurity. But when you look at the ratings and the revenues that Descendants has garnered and generated, it is truly unbelievable. 17.5 million for High School Musical, I know, is a huge number, and it's a record that really stood the test of time. But Descendants is 6.7 million viewers, and all the positive reviews that it received is really a testament to how it's really going to stand the test of time and really have its own legacy that is very different from legacies of High School Musical and Hannah Montana and any other franchise that Disney has had over the last 30 years. It is really unbelievable to me how many people drew inspiration from the Descendants franchise, how many people are stronger now because of the Descendants franchise, and how people have remained friends for forever. I think some of the most beautiful friendships of all time have happened because of Descendants and Zombies. You take, for instance, Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim's friendship. They were an instant classic. From the very first moment I laid eyes on this couple, I refer to them as Disney Channel's power couple, the new power couple of the new generation. While Gabriella Montez, Vanessa Hudgens, and Troy Bolton, Zac Efron were referred to as the power couple of the generation past on Disney Channel, I think that Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim really lit Zombies on fire and really brought it to life in a way that I don't think anybody else would have ever been able to do it as members of the cast of Zombies. We have seen so many cast members come and go, see their introductions and exits from the Zombies franchise, but the thing is, these two really brought it to life in unbelievable ways, from the ballads of Somewhere I Belong to This Is Gonna Be My Year to Someday, which was the duet that really set Zombies in motion by Zombies premiere in February of 2018. It was really cool how Zombies premiered just a couple of days after Valentine's Day, because I think everybody was looking for an inspiration to believe that true love actually could happen for somebody out there in this world. And with how crazy the world is getting out there every day, I think Zombies really was a very positive vibe, a really cool vibe of how, you know, true love can exist even in the most darkest and uncertain of circumstances. It was really cool how Zombies had this really nice vibe, and I really liked how, you know, from chapter to chapter in Zombies, we saw new characters all the time. It was very unpredictable. While Descendants' plot was very obvious from time to time, the focus being on Mal and Ben's relationship and how they would try to stay together after every bit of adversity they faced in the movie, and then the other characters having emphasis on discovering their place in Auradon Prep, which they eventually did after coming from the Isle of the Lost, being given an opportunity by King Ben. I think that Zombies really was a cliffhanger that really kept us guessing from one moment to the next. For instance, now, you know, off the conclusion of Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, we don't know what's inside of that vortex, and I'm incredibly excited to really find out what's inside of that vortex going forward. Will it be mermaids? Will it be sirens? Will it be witches? I would go for anything being inside of that vortex. You know, on all my boating excursions, I have encountered everything from whales to dolphins. I've been in some of the most frightening experiences where the boat has almost been knocked over by whales approaching killer whales. I've lived on this island for forever, and every day you don't know what to quite expect living here. It's really exciting because I've been involved in disasters at sea and stuff, but I have never, in all my years of being at sea, I have never ever encountered a vortex. And I just want to put it out there that if I ever have the opportunity to encounter a vortex and jump inside of one, I will do it, knowing that it has everything to do with doom and the end of time, because nobody else on YouTube is offering you the chance to discover what's inside of a vortex. I know this from all the Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires reaction videos I've been watching for Zombies 3, Zombies 2, and so on, because I like to go back in time and watch, retro videos of zombies and the reactions. But I've noticed from the Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires reaction videos, nobody has ever offered or voluntarily suggested jumping inside of a vortex to discover what's inside of this thing. Which is why if ever the opportunity arises and presents itself, I just want to put it out there that Freya Sky and Malachi Burton have nothing to worry about. Because if I get the opportunity to go out inside of a speedboat in New Zealand and jump inside of this thing, I will do it. And I will kick the ass of whatever's inside of it for you guys, because you deserve better in the way of commentaries about Descendants of Zombies. And you deserve to have hope about discovering what's inside of this vortex. If Ruby Rose Turner is leaving Descendants and having nothing else to do with the franchise for the foreseeable future, which has broken my heart, and because I've been left broken-hearted, because Ruby has left the Descendants franchise, I've got to have some motivation. And the only thing I've got going for me right now is to jump inside of this vortex. So if ever the opportunity arises, I will find out what's inside of this vortex thing for you guys, even if I have to jump inside of it. And that should give you guys even more incentive to hit the subscribe button, because somebody's got to do it. Because I feel as if these reaction videos that are being uploaded, that's all they are reaction videos. Nobody ever explains to you why they love Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires. Nobody ever explains to you why they've loved Descendants: The Rise of Red. It's just reaction videos and how they feel about a music video or a certain moment that may have happened in the Descendants or Zombies franchises. For me, what stole the show for Descendants: The Rise of Red was the introduction of the Bridget character. It offered us an explanation as to why the Queen of Hearts was so evil and so devious and so against everybody, but it also showed us how far kindness can really go in this lifetime. And I would venture to say, if I had to guess, more people are kinder now because of Bridget. More people feel inspired by Bridget. More people feel stronger because of Bridget. Ruby Rose Turner did a fabulous job, showcasing her kindness. Now, ever before she was the character Bridget, I always believed that Ruby Rose Turner was such a kind soul. And I mean genuinely kind. And that's an extreme rarity in this lifetime. I've been on YouTube almost 30 years. And I've never seen someone with such a kind soul as what Ruby Rose Turner is. And out of all the celebrities that I've covered over the years, and I've covered a lot of them, from Hilary Duff to Lindsay Lohan to Jessica Simpson to the Backstreet Boys to Westlife, the most kind celebrity that I've ever had to cover is Ruby Rose Turner. Her heart is genuinely kind, and I wish there were more people in this world that existed out there like Ruby Rose Turner. I think she is someone that we can all learn from, we can draw inspiration from, and I'm really going to miss her being a part of the Descendants project going forward, because I think that this franchise really gained such a kind soul, and when Ruby left the franchise, they lost it. It's just a shame that her time was very short-lived with the franchise. Oftentimes you will catch me doing videos with my reciprocal lights turned pink, the color of Bridget, because I miss her so much. And I've never denied having the biggest crush in the world on Ruby Rose Turner, but so too do I have a crush on Kylie Cantrell, because of just how she's really brought this franchise to life in so many unspeakable ways that I think people are overshadowing with criticism, which there's really no need of. When I see videos of Kylie Cantrell crying all the time because she can't make sense of her own life, that really creates something for me. It really breaks my heart, to be honest with each and every one of you. And something really has to be done about this, because Kylie Cantrell is such a beautiful soul. I know it has everything to do with her political point of view somehow finding its way into a conversation, or her relationship not really turning out the way she wanted it to. But the thing is, Kylie Cantrell is just trying to figure out her place in life, trying to figure out her place in the world, and I don't think she deserves this criticism that she is receiving, herself nor Ruby, because their friendship is so beautiful, both on and off the camera and on and off the set of Descendants. So too is the friendship of Malia Baker and Kylie Cantrell, and people have gone as far as to create the most unthinkable rumors about Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker. Why can't we just leave them alone and let them be friends? I think their friendship is the most beautiful friendship that we've ever seen from the Descendants franchise. While it will be argued that the most revered friendship of all time was that of a Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson, where are they in the conversation when it comes to celebrating Descendants' 10th anniversary? The most we've seen from the original cast since Descendants celebrated its 10-year anniversary was a 5-minute interview with Sophia Carson, where she gave a reaction to, spending so much time on Descendants for it being her breakout role. And rest assured, that is the only thing that she remembers being a part of the Descendants franchise for, is because of a breakout role, and if not that, knowing Cameron Boyce, like we all do. The thing is, these stars of the new franchise, while people had great difficulty accepting them, they changed our perception on the franchise, yes, but they also changed our perception on life, because people learned from being a fan of Descendants of Zombies, which is more than I can say from the franchises of the past, High School Musical and Hannah Montana. What did we take away from Hannah Montana? That if you had a dream, just go out and achieve it, no matter what sacrifices you had to make. And really what made Hannah Montana such a huge success overnight was the music and nothing but the music. And perhaps the fancy jackets that everybody wanted when they were released back in 2007, 2008, and a concert ticket to experience the Best of Both Worlds tour with the Jonas Brothers. That's all Hannah Montana ever gave us. And Hannah Montana went down as the greatest Disney legend of all time and the youngest. So if Hannah Montana can go down in history for being the greatest of all time, so too can your Descendants cast. And that's what I'm here to make sure happens. I want their legacies to be fulfilled. I want their legacies to go down in history for being some of the greatest of all time. And if that is the last thing that I do before I die, well, then I'm happy with that. And also, too, if I go down in history for being the greatest of all time. But rest assured, if I do go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time to ever do it, I want each and every one of you guys to be by my side and be with me, because if we're in this together. And that is more than you're ever going to hear in the way of appreciation from any other YouTube creator out there who talks about Descendants of Zombies, because as far as I'm concerned, that passion for Descendants of Zombies really has to exist inside of your heart before you ever create a commentary on Descendants of Zombies. Do I think that Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim's character Zed Madison offered a lot to the Zombies franchise? Sure I do. Do I think they deserve to end up together? Yes. Do I think more of a story should have been told for Zed Madison? Yes. Do I think more of a story is going to be told for Zed Madison? Yes. Because I don't think that anyone should ever have their hopes and dreams taken away from them for what they want to see Descendants of Zombies amount to. And that's what all these critics on YouTube are trying to do. They're trying to take away, and if not take away your hopes and dreams, they're trying to put a damper on it. They're trying to extinguish that fire that Descendants of Zombies lit in our hearts over a decade ago. This has been the most incredible decade of my life, ladies and gentlemen, and it's the greatest honor of my life to be here in your guys' presence reviewing and critiquing Descendants of Zombies. But what I mean by critique Descendants of Zombies, it's not to offer you constructive criticism, as they call it. It's to show the pride and the passion and to showcase Descendants of Zombies for the true value that it's meant to be showcased for. And I, for one, believe that's one of the biggest reasons why everybody subscribes here, because they see that in the guy hosting the show, along with how the guy tries to understand his audience like they try to understand him. And the best way to do that is tell you stories that relate to Descendants of Zombies, along with providing you with great commentaries and reviews about Descendants of Zombies, so you get to know the host of the show, and he too gets to know each and every one of you as to why you're such the biggest Descendants of Zombies fans in the world. Because I trust in you being the biggest Descendants of Zombies fans in the world. What I doubt in are these critics on YouTube claiming to be the biggest Descendants of Zombies fans in the world. Let me ask you guys a question. If you're the biggest Descendants of Zombies fans in the world, why do you criticize it so much on your videos on YouTube? It's the fans of Descendants of Zombies who are upset about these reviews because they're watching the same 4 or 5 videos every night, which I don't see the purpose of. Because if you're showing up on YouTube to talk about Descendants of Zombies, you really got to show up on YouTube. And you really got to let these fans know why you see such a passion in the show, because this was one of the greatest shows of all time, as far as I'm concerned. It was an A-plus project that everybody came through on. Everybody saw the potential in it, especially after it became so popular, because it became popular overnight. That's how I became a star on YouTube. I was uploading a bunch of Descendants videos one after the other just last year, and I exploded overnight with 1,000 views on my initial Descendants video, and I thought it was really cool. I thought this might be fun, and I just started uploading one Descendants video after another, threw in some Zombies commentaries, and I found it to be a very powerful way to talk about Descendants and Zombies with an open heart and an open mind that was very different from everybody else on YouTube. And some way or somehow, I like to believe that my message was heard, my message of kindness, and to inspire people to be kinder and to create their own YouTube channels with their thoughts, possibly on Descendants of Zombies. Because it's one thing to talk about Descendants of Zombies, but why are you a fan of Descendants of Zombies? Riddle me that. Explain that to me. I think these critics are just finding things funny about reviewing Descendants of Zombies and reviewing it for the hell of it, when they should be on YouTube reviewing it for what it's worth, and showcasing the pride of what this franchise has meant to all of us. It represented hope. It represented second chances. It gave me a second chance to be seen and heard on YouTube, which means the world to me. You guys being here, subscribing all the time, means the world to me. Even if it's just one person who hits the subscribe button. I had 2 people subscribe today, upping me to 2,802 subscribers. That's putting me 198 subscribers away, less than 200 from 3,000. I have every reason to believe this YouTube channel will amount to 3,000 subscribers, and we'll be celebrating that in a couple of months' time. But it will come down to each and every one of you, not necessarily the guy uploading videos for you on Descendants of Zombies. It's how much passion you share with the guy hosting the show about Descendants of Zombies that matters. And honestly, this has been the greatest honor of my life, and a time that I will never ever forget, and I will always cherish. Because I never ever thought this YouTube channel was going to amount to anything. I never ever thought this YouTube channel would receive the reviews that it has, so many kind comments, so many people hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Because what it comes down to is your audience, and the appreciation the audience sees in your video, and how you present it, and how you showcase Descendants of Zombies. Because it's one thing, as I said, to show up on YouTube and talk about Descendants of Zombies, but why are you talking about Descendants of Zombies with such a negative vibe? If only I could remove the negative vibe and the feeling I get from watching all these reviews of Descendants of Zombies on YouTube, and replace it with more kindness and give you a reason to hit my subscribe button, I would feel more accomplished, because I really do believe that Descendants of Zombies has really inspired us to become stronger people. It's inspired us to believe in ourselves more than we ever have before. And I know I talk about Descendants one day and Zombies the next, but I can't really decipher between which franchise I love more than the other, because I love them both equally. And I treat them with the same amount of respect that I treat the other, because I think that Descendants of Zombies really has changed our lives and changed our perspective on life. And I think we're more friends with more people than ever before, because years ago you were friends with somebody for a specific reason. Probably because you thought they were cool. You felt like you were them and you could relate to them. But now, the cool thing about Descendants of Zombies is you're not picking and choosing your friends. Everybody who's a fan of Descendants of Zombies is your friend because you're a fan of Descendants of Zombies. And I think that's so cool, and that's an admirable quality of anything to have. And I hope going forward we see more friendships happen because of Descendants of Zombies. Because I can honestly tell you, each and every single one of you are my friend. Because without you, I have no show. Without you, I have no career. I thought 7.5 years ago my career was over, but because you saw the good in me when nobody else did throughout the journey that I was on in my career trying to find myself, each and every one of you, stay with me for forever. Which is why I came to realize the Descendants of Zombies universe was the most incredibly supportive fan base in the entire world. They would listen to you, they would share their thoughts on Descendants of Zombies, and we would have a close-knit bond, and that really means something to me as a creator on YouTube. If you want to hear something nice about Descendants of Zombies, then I would highly recommend that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, because this YouTube channel is absolutely mind-blowing. The appreciation that you will get from these videos about Descendants of Zombies and the stars of the franchises that have meant so much to you for the last 10 years is truly unbelievable, and unlike any other video that you will find on YouTube, because I really do put my heart into these videos, because I know these videos mean something to you. I know these franchises have forever meant something to you, and they've meant something to me equally. And they've really changed my life. They've given me a second chance, and they've presented me with an opportunity to be heard and seen again, which means more to me than I could ever put into words on this show for you guys. I'd need up to an hour just to tell you how I feel about being showcased again on YouTube for being your voice of Descendants of Zombies. Do I think that these franchises have a future? Sure I do. And I just feel so honored to be a part of it. And there is no place in the world I would rather be tonight when this video premieres at midnight, being a part of our Saturday afternoon lineup, than right here talking about Descendants of Zombies for each and every one of you, because it really was a 5-star production. It really brought tears to my eyes, and it really changed my perspective on life. It inspired me to be a better person to people who I necessarily wasn't kind to, that I'm kinder to now. I'm really making a difference in life now, because of Descendants of Zombies and because of stars like Ruby Rose Turner, who I just think is so adorable and so genuinely kind, and that never enough good things can be said about them. I think their tears are being wasted on things that they don't need to be wasted on. I think they need to be more focused and become stronger and be there for each and every person who's ever believed in them. And that's all I've ever wanted, is for their legacies to live on eternally in all of our hearts. And if it's the last thing I do as a podcast host on YouTube, it's going to be that. Because my legacy will be remembered for being one of the greatest of all time and the greatest Descendants of Zombies fan of all time, not because I chose to be, but because of each and every one of you. And for that, I want to say from my heart to yours, thank you so much. I will be back in just a few hours from now with a new video by the time the sun rises. It is just after midnight for those of you who are watching this video tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have not subscribed and liked this video, please do so. Show your love for this YouTube channel, which I hope you will continue to do for the foreseeable future. I'm your host of Descendants of Zombies, your voice of Descendants of Zombies, and I love you guys so much. We will talk again in just a few hours from now. Thank you guys so much for watching.